One of my favorite lines that I heard Reagan use, he said, I'm going to share with you what Henry VIII said to his fourth wife. I won't be keeping you long. I know you've all been here a long time and lots of information to digest. I wanted to share with you how not to be afraid. Courage isn't the absence of fear. We're all afraid. They threaten us every day. And it boiled down for me when we came into our Holy Week, Palm Sunday, and the governor decided to declare that the church was non-essential. I don't think he had read the Constitution or the First Amendment. Abortion clinics were essential. You could tear apart a baby in its mother's womb, flush the parts into the sewer systems of our state, which leads the nation in abortion, but you can't have a church service. Cannabis distributors are okay, and liquor stores, Costco, but not a church. A lot of you may not be churchgoers, but I have news for you. We're contending for truth. And there are absolutes on the planet. And one of my favorite atheists, and I love this man, he's a dear friend, James Lindsay. He wrote a book called Cynical Theory. He still believes in absolute truth, and he says that critical race theory is destroying America. And he said, if I was still an angry atheist and wanted to destroy the church, I would do it by critical race theory. Because there's no absolute truth with critical race. These critical race theorists, what they do is they find their truth in political power. That same political power that the church has abdicated, we don't participate anymore. We don't participate in elections. I think there's 15 million evangelical Christians in California. Half aren't even registered to vote. Of the half that are registered, only half of those vote in a presidential election, 12% in a non-presidential election, and every church is silent. And you have no idea what's happening. And then the governor comes along and you say separation of church and state until the state steps into the church. And they tell you that you're non-essential. Now, as a minister, my faith declares that the church is the bride of Christ. I've been married 31 years to my wife, Michelle. You tell me my wife's non-essential, you'll be picking up your teeth with your broken arm. Now, where are the shepherds defending the church? And they use the excuse that they love their neighbor. No, they don't. They don't love the abused who have been quarantined with their abusers. They don't love the elderly who have to die alone. We've had more children drown in bathtubs than have died of COVID, and they've shuttered their schools, and those churches are silent. The two mandated reporters for child abuse are churches and schools that have both been shuttered. You tell me you love your neighbor? It's coming at a cost for us. We opened our church. We opened. We face fines every Sunday, and they were taking us to court, and we violated their restraining order in the whole 9 yards, and they made a mockery of us. We had all kinds of protesters, whatever. But I remember the day that they had gotten a political and predictive judge, and they had used taxpayer dollars with a 3-2 vote on the supervisory board to get an attorney to put together an emergency restraining order on the church where they named me and 1,000 either congregants or visitors to our church. Now, if you get a citation, you have an NROTC scholarship as a student, you lose that. I mean, it's a serious violation. You have a concealed carry permit, you lose it. You're an employee, a government official, you're gonna be dinged. And they're threatening us, and they want to get the sheriffs along in this order with another judge to be able to chain our church. And I said, you really, really want that optic? Is this where we are today? And I remember the Saturday before we were going to violate the order. You got to count the cost. And I called our attorney and I said, tell me what's at stake here. He said, you're probably going to lose your church. You're going to lose your house. They're going to audit you. You're going to get some death threats. And he went down the list. I said, is there anything else? He goes, yeah. And he listed more. And I'm in the airport in Sacramento getting ready to catch a flight. I tried to get some vacation with my family. Forget it. There's no sleeping. Heart's racing, shoulder hurts, just it's awful. And the world's coming down on you, people calling because you want to have church. And I said, is there anything else? And he says, yes. And he goes down the list with some more. Finally, after 4 or 5 times back and forth, I go, is there anything else? He says, I can't think of anything else. And I looked at the list. And I said, I know you can't counsel me to break the law. But I just want to let you know we will be breaking the law tomorrow. Will you, be my attorney when I do? And he said, yeah. Now you're clapping. But I have a question for you. Do you really love liberty? Yes. Now wait, I'm going to challenge you. 3 to 5 million Jews were enslaved in Egypt. They cried out to God for deliver. God sent Moses. Moses steps up to Pharaoh, the tyrant, and says, let my people go. Pharaoh says, who is God that I should obey him? He doubles their brick output and reduces their materials. You know what all the slaves do? They complain to Moses. People want liberty. They don't want to fight for it. That's right. You want the idea of liberty, but it's going to cost you something. Are you willing to lose everything for the sake of liberty? That's right. Yes. Because that's the question. Because they will not stop until they have systematically changed this constitutional republic into an oligarchy. And it will join the ash heap of history with every other nation that had embraced the elite ruling the many. For 244 years, we've had a bottom-up government of we the people. We're the sovereign. They govern by our consent. But if the king in this nation, which is we the people, the sovereign, we need counselors. Because we have to operate with an understanding of what freedom is. Most of you can't name the 7 articles of the U.S. Constitution. You don't know the 27 amendments. You haven't educated your children in this capacity. This is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And if it is not instilled in generations to come, we'll lose it. Now, you've lost some of your liberty. I get it. Your freedoms have dried up and you're going upstream. And the source of the liberty, I just want to let you know, in case you're an atheist or an agnostic or whatever, 2 Corinthians 3, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. I'm just letting you know that. Anyways, this idea of freedom, this imago Dei, that we get to apply restraints in order to pursue excellence. This is our responsibility. This is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. You say, I don't want to go to school board meetings because they're boring. You know what? They are. It's more exciting to watch paint dry. But you must be there. You must hold them accountable. You must walk precincts. You must host events. You have to contribute. It's not enough to send visceral emails to your friends and complain about the circumstances. Yeah, just look out at the water here, and I'm going to conclude with this. Look out at the water here. This is reminiscent of another beach where 18-year-olds set Europe free from America. They came in and they died, never being able to enjoy what you're enjoying. And what was our sacrifice? Oh, we sat on a couch and ordered DoorDash. We have so suffered, haven't we? How valuable is freedom? And now I invoke the man who set me on this journey. The man I'm named after. Robert Broussard Early. Rear Admiral Robert Broussard Early. He's my godfather. He died at 100. At 99 years of age, he was the highest ranking survivor of the attack on Pearl Harbor. He was a lieutenant on the USS Cassin, December 7, 1941. I was running for the California State Assembly, and my own party was spending $1 million against me. I'd been a Republican longer than I'd been a Christian, longer than I'd been a husband, longer than I'd been a father. And in a primary, they're spending $1 million against me. And I was the last Republican standing. They put a candidate up to go against me. I didn't understand this. I didn't understand what was happening in California. I was willing to step forward. My party's attacking me. I called everyone I knew to raise money. If I'd known you, I would have called you. And my party was making me spend it. Well, I beat that candidate like a rented mule, but I remember going and I was completely out of money. And I was going to miss his 100th birthday. And I was getting carpet bombed. They were attacking our school. They were attacking my church. They had gone, they were, it was awful. It was awful. They'd keyed my car. So I went to Coronado, where my godfather lives. My mother was dead. My father was in a home with Alzheimer's. He was the patriarch of the family for the most part. At 99 years of age, he was still driving. Not well, but he was driving. He would do, are you ready for this? He'd do 100 sit-ups a day in 25 increments. He said movement was life. And I walked into the room, and he said with a booming voice, "How's it going?" I said, "Uncle Bob, I feel like I've led these folks on a rosy road to nowhere. California's going to hell in a handbag. My own party's carpet bombing me. I don't even want to go out to my mailbox because there's going to be another flyer attacking another portion of my life. I don't think there's hope. I'm overwhelmed." And as I'm lamenting it, he puts his 99-year-old hand up, and it's shaking with age, and I've never heard him angry in the 50 years I've known him. He puts his hand up, and he goes, "Stop it!" Paralyzed me. Nothing like being spanked by a 99-year-old man. And he looks at me, he says, "Rob, you don't know tough." I was 16 years old in the Great Depression. We didn't know where our next meal was going to come from. Had it not been an appointment to the Naval Academy, I would have never received a college degree. And you being a history major, you probably don't know this, but America, I think he said, had the 17th largest military on the face of the earth. We were in isolationist mode. And I was in Pearl Harbor on that day when they sank half our Pacific fleet, and they sunk my ship. The harbor was on fire, and I pulled my shipmates out of that harbor, and they were dead. He said the next day we took on a two-fronted war against two fascist nations. We lifted that fleet from the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. We floated into Tokyo Harbor to accept the surrender of the Japanese. And when we left Germany and Japan, we were not occupiers, we were liberators. We asked for only enough ground to bury our dead. We set up constitutional republics in both of those nations, came back to the United States, and started the greatest industrial revolution in modern history. Now quit your whining and go finish what you started. Liberty's worth fighting for. No more talking. Now's time for action. God bless you guys.